Right.
That's it. Hey, so we are back today. We have our Patricia and Jin with us today. Hello, guys.
Hello, everybody. Hello, Karen. Nice to see you all again.
Yeah. Goody, goody,
Hi,
goody.
Jane.
Patricia?
Hi,
Yeah.
Jane. Hi,
Yeah, long
Karen.
time no see, Patricia. Haven't seen
Yeah,
that.
it has, isn't it? On Sun and Moon.
Yeah, it's been a few months now. Yeah, since April, I think it was the last time I saw
I
Patricia.
know, it's been a while. I have put in for an appeal and I'm waiting still to hear. But they don't seem to be talking to me at all.
Yeah, which is very typical of the YouTube of late. There's serious censorship going on, and they're not really speaking to their good customers like yourself. You know.
No. Well, I think it's called YouTube law now. It's not a
Yeah.
sure or the common thing or a down the middle thing. It's just a YouTube law.
Yeah, I
Anyway,
think it.
yes, how's Japan and everything?
Oh, over here we've just finished the rainy season, but it's still raining. It's supposed to be summer now, and we've had 2 weeks of heavy rain downpour. What it was, I think, this year, June, the rainy season usually starts at June, but for 2 weeks we had really nice sunshine. So the rainy season started late. So we had rain yesterday, but it looks like we've got a nice day coming up tomorrow.
Yeah, that's
School
good.
kids will be coming off of summer holiday in the next couple of weeks. What can I say? Oh, I was talking to one of my students, right? And she since last year, she's had this skin problem where her skin is itching all over her body, right? And she went to the doctors, but the doctors don't know what it is. She says she's got some kind of allergy, but they don't know what allergy it is, right? So she came to my lesson today. She's 52 years old. So I said, "Are you sure it's not the menopause? Because according to what I remember, it does cause skin irritation, itching of the skin." So I looked it up on the Google and I looked up in my encyclopedia, and it said that. So I said she has to go back to her doctor and speak to your doctor and advise him to advise him to look at menopause and he's got the
Advise
right
the
medication.
doctor that he doesn't know what he's talking about.
No, that's what surprised me. And she's had this problem all of last year and now this year still got it. And I asked her about the cream she was using. Is there a medicated smell to the cream? Because some creams have this kind of like peppermint sort of like smell. When you put it on the skin, you can feel it working on the actual rash and irritation. And it tends to dry up and that. But she says, no, there's no scent. I said, well, this cream's not working then, is it? It's a placebo nonsense. The cream's just of no good to you. If you've been using it for 3-4 months and it hasn't worked, obviously it's no good. No medication in the thing.
Oh, well done, Jin.
Yeah, so she's gonna go back to her doctor's on the 16th of next month is our next appointment. And I said, you mentioned that, yeah, it might be your menopause. You're of age now, and women have different symptoms. You see, so go check it out. Frightening. I don't want to go to the doctors here. They don't know what they're doing.
Oh,
You,
Patricia,
you've got.
why? Because Patricia's usually the quieter one of the two here. But Patricia, do you want to ask Jin anything before he gets going?
Well,
I don't know.
I'll ask Patricia a question. How's everything with you, Patricia, in your life? What's anything new?
It depends on what you mean by new. It's not new to me, but no.
New
I'm
events.
still stuck in Scunthorpe.
Okay.
That's about it. Everything's
Right.
tickety boo, as they say.
Tickety boo, yeah. Have you been anywhere?
No. I'm going to my sister's next weekend because it's her birthday next week.
Ooh, well, that sounds
That's
good.
about it. I don't go out much.
Okay, so you don't go much. Have you had many visitors?
Only my kids.
Sorry?
Only my children. Took me out
Okay.
for my birthday last month.
Oh, it was your birthday last month. You did have an event then. Ah.
Jin,
Well, it's only another day, isn't it?
apart on our birthdays. She's the 13th and I'm the 14th of June.
Oh, so you're one day after each other then?
Hmm.
Oh, that's
Yeah, but
nice.
I'm the older one anyway.
Yeah, but she's the older one.
Well, how old are you now then? 21?
20.
Oh, you're 20, right. So Karen's 19 then. Ah. Yeah. So you where did you go? Did you go to a restaurant?
No, I went to pictures.
Oh, right. What movie did you watch?
Men in Black, the new one.
Oh, right. The new one, yeah.
International or something.
Yeah. What did you think of it?
Uh, it was all right, I suppose. Yeah, as
Hmm.
films go, I'm not really. I do watch films, but if I could be doing something else, I'd be doing something else. Do you know what I mean?
All right. I see what you mean. It wasn't that good then. The reviews were mixed, I must say,
Anyway, what's the
about
point
that
anymore?
film.
You know, none of it's real.
Yeah, yeah, we know none of it's real, right.
Yeah, it's
And
all just special effects. It's not even acting anymore. It's a bit of a turn off once you know how they make a film nowadays.
yeah, that's exactly what people were saying about this particular one. It wasn't as good as the other three, and most people liked one and two. So perhaps you were right there, then, Patricia. If it wasn't that moving for you, I haven't seen it. I'm not going to see it. I'm not interested. But there we are. That's me. I'm not
It's
really going to the movies kind of guy.
it's usually the same though. The first, like you said, the first one, second one are all right, and then they're just trying to rehash everything. Do you know what I mean? With
Yeah,
the
rehash
third
it
and the
badly, don't
fourth,
they?
and
But they rehash it badly, and you know.
yeah.
So
Well, I
you went
went
to the
to see
picture.
Dumbo a few months ago, the new Dumbo, and it was so dark
That's
and
right. Yeah,
dingy. I was like,
I heard that that's more like live motion, isn't it?
yeah, but
Real elephant.
guess who was the person who was oh, I'm not sure what you call it. Not the. He might not have been the director, but it was something like that. It was Tim Curry from Hair,
Oh,
and you know how
oh
dark
right. Yeah.
and dingy he is.
Oh
So that's
right.
how
Yeah.
dark and dingy the film was.
It was dark and dingy then, right? So you didn't enjoy it then?
Yeah. So
You
no,
mean
is
Tim
it Tim Burton
Burton?
from Hair?
Yeah, Richard.
I
Yeah.
thought his name was Curry. Maybe you're right. You know,
Tim Curry is the one that was in um what they call it Rocky Horror Picture
oh,
Show thing.
him.
That is
All
Tim
right.
Curry's up in
Yeah,
there.
him. Then that one.
Oh, well, there's Tim Curry, Tim Wright, and the other one I
It
mentioned.
was with
Tim
So
Burton.
they're all in films, aren't they?
you know how sort of
Tim Burton.
he did he did that other one in the 60s. No, oh never mind. Anyway, he yeah, it was him. It wasn't if you were about 12, it would have been okay. It wasn't for the little ones. It said
Right.
parental, what's the name, but it wasn't made for the little ones. It was all in the dark. Everything was in the nighttime.
Oh, right.
Dark and dingy.
So how would you rate that from 0 to 10? What would be your
Two.
ranking for that rating?
Two.
Two? Two? Was that
Yeah.
two?
Yeah.
Okay. What about you, Patricia? Your movie. How would you rank that or rate it?
Um, I'd say about a 3, 4
A
ish.
three,
I
four.
can't remember
Okay.
much about it, so it can't have been that exciting. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly. If you can't remember
I
it, it
can't
couldn't have been that
remember.
exciting.
You know what I mean? It weren't memorable.
Yeah.
So
Hasn't it
Okay.
come? They changed
it was
for
just
the
nice
main
to spend
players.
time with my family.
Yeah,
The
that's what
la-
Patricia liked. She wouldn't have cared what film she watched, just as long as she was with her family.
I think the last film I watched was Matt Damien. Is it
Oh,
in the
I used to
Martian?
like
Oh, the
them in
Mars one.
films. I used to
The
like
Mars one.
them. I just can't watch any of them anymore.
Yeah, and that was like I think a couple of years back. That one, Mars. Matt Damien. about 3 years ago, I think. I
Yeah.
took my kids to watch the movie with their friends, and we watched the movie. And as the credits were coming up, I said, "Hang on a minute, boys, sit down. Can they go to space?" I asked them, "Can they go to space?" No. Can they go to Mars? No. Is Mars a terra firma, real planet like Earth? No, they said. I said, right. So do remember, this is just fantasy. No human being will ever be going to Mars, ever. They don't have the technology. They never went to the moon, did they? So how can they go to Mars if they never went to the moon? Okay. And they said, yeah. We're in the cinema. We're in the cinema, sitting down. Before they cut, I said, hang on a second here. Just make sure they understand what they watched was fantasy. Never in our lifetime would humans ever go to Mars. It's not a place you can go to. 300 days it takes to get there.
So funny.
Yeah. So that was the last film we watched together. They wanted to see it.
Even if you don't have to be, believing what we live on, but if you just wake up and know that everything, it just takes the fun away, doesn't it? It's better than a kid. Then you think fantasy is real. Oh, let's go to the beaches. Let's go here. As an elder, now you know everything's what it is. You think, no, I don't want to do that. Don't want to see that. Don't want to go there.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like you. Yeah, I only went because they wanted to watch it. You see, they already knew that the Earth was flat, but they wanted to go and watch it. But I wanted to snap them out of that fantasy. I don't want them walking out the cinema thinking it's possible to go to Mars and they can grow vegetables there. You know what I mean? So I just made sure that they snapped out of that pretty quick. Yeah, that was the last film I saw. And how would I rate that movie? Entertainment value for those who are really lost, probably a 10. For me, 0.
Well, and we ain't going to the pictures either, so there you go. It's not exactly
Yeah, right. I wasted my money, you know what I mean? So
and
that's why
the cinema aren't cheap anymore, are they? They're about £11 now, aren't they?
right, that's about right. £12, something like that.
Yeah, I think that's quite expensive just to watch a film.
Yeah, so do I. So do I.
Like,
Wow.
no wonder nobody goes to the cinema then.
Oh yeah, I don't want to go there. No.
How's,
I haven't watched
only
TV
cost
all this year. This year, I haven't switched the TV on to watch anything this year. Not once.
Yeah, a bit the same, I have to say. Patricia, what were you going to say?
It only cost us £5 to
Okay,
obviously
was that
£5 each.
ladies' night? Was it?
What's
No,
that
it was
then?
Saturday night. It was Saturday afternoon. No, I think we spent more on. Well, I didn't. They treated themselves to stuff. Cost them more with the popcorn and the Coke.
It was so cheap then, Patricia.
Bloody hell! Really? My word.
It was 3 for £10, so they got 2 Cokes and a big. I mean, it was a big, massive box of popcorn for £10. So
Patricia,
it weren't too bad.
£5 then? How come it was so cheap to go to the cinema?
I've no idea. No idea. I think they've lowered the prices a bit to get people in because
I think they had people were going £12 a head. And don't forget, you have to pay more.
It's never been that much round here anyway, Karen, to be honest.
As here. But then if you want the nicer seats, like the more individual seats with like armrests, you've got to pay, I don't know how much they are.
All the seats have got armrests. They even recline.
Yeah, but they're bigger ones, so you get like half a sofa one. Those ones, they're even more money.
Wow, is that right?
Yeah.
All right. So nothing's changed in Britain then?
No, it's getting worse here now because was it you I was talking to about the London emissions? I can't remember now, Jin. It was you, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah. It surprised me. Apparently, in April, is it Sadiq Khan, the Mayor of England? He introduced what's it called? The ultra low emissions zone, Central London. And by 2021, he's going to expand it to the South Circular. That's the A205, and the North Circular, which is the A406. As far as that, by 2021, which means any car, I think, over the age of 14 years, 15 years, will have to pay £12.50 to drive around London.
for the
As
day.
it is, it's central London. That's expensive when you
For the day.
consider you've got the congestion
Jin,
charge on top of that. That's a
Jin,
£24 a day,
per day,
which
yeah.
works out, if you do that on a daily basis, it works out to be £8,760 a year.
Whoa. Can I
That's a
just
lot
say
of money.
something? It's really, really annoying on this point because we all know before the Second World War, even before the First World War, everything was electric. We had electric cars, electric trucks. These things were quite good. They could go quite fast. The batteries lasted ages. Then we get 2 world wars. Then we come out with gas and oil. And the thing is that we shouldn't be paying for the emissions because they're the ones that changed it to oil and petrol and all that. They should be paying for the emissions.
Yes, you're absolutely right, because at the end of the day, they call it fossil fuels. And of course, we all know that dinosaurs never existed. So how can you get fuel from a fossil? Now, this is a natural occurring oil. It's not going to run out anytime soon. There's lots of oil out there. The thing is, it's carcinogenic. It can cause cancer and that, the fuel, when you burn it. And this is on top of um, alternative fuels are out there. Biodiesel, bioethanol, biomethane. There's quite a lot of alternatives that they could be using.
Car nowadays, it costs you an absolute fortune to get a good, like, just say if you wanted to get like a BMW version of it, it would cost you an
Yeah,
absolute fortune. But you imagine if they
yeah.
continued to be making electric cars from like 100 years ago, what they would be like now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and the thing is, right, they could be using, and I keep mentioning it all the time. Hemp. Hemp is a material that you could make the car from, and it's non-toxic, non-polluting. The fuel as well. It's a clean burning fuel. CO2. No, no. The main concern is nitrogen oxide. That's what the government's talking about, and the government's concerned about that, especially with the children, right? It's harmful to kids. But the thing is, I looked into Germany, and they were very angry at their government for rolling out a similar system as the British system. And their scientists and university graduates conducted surveys across their cities, and it turns out that where the government put the monitors to monitor the exhaust fumes were right by the traffic lights. And when you do that, of course, cars are stopped. So there's always going to be a build up by the traffic lights. And then when they accelerate off, there's going to be more exhaust coming out as you accelerate off. So they didn't put it all around the city, just at the traffic light spots. So what these students did, they put it all over the city. They moved around and did their checks. And it turns out that it wasn't as harmful as the government was saying, right? No one has ever died from particulates coming out of a diesel engine. There's no deaths. You cannot record the deaths. There are 0 deaths, apparently. And according to them, the danger happens when you're in your house. It's more dangerous where you live, in your homes, in your kitchens. If you've got a gas boiler, or if you're cooking on gas, you're exposed to 30 times more nitrogen oxide than you would be walking on the streets. In your kitchens. This is what they say. So the German citizens, motorists,
That
are
they
up
never
in arms.
the truth about anything, so it doesn't even matter whether it was good or bad. And if it was bad, they're still not going to tell you the truth. They're not going to tell you the truth. They're only going to tell you what they want in their game.
Yeah, I'm hoping that the British motorists look into it, refuse to pay, because it's an insult, really. It's not going to reduce the emissions. Let's say everybody paid the money, right? Everyone paid. It's not going to reduce emissions, are they? And
Do you know what
what's the
they're
money going to be
thinking?
used
It's
for?
going to make London like an island because no one will want to go there.
Yeah, yeah, that's what it is. And it becomes a prison, because you can't go anywhere. You have to stay at home. One woman put a video up on YouTube, and her car was called Harry. It's a Mini Cooper, excellent condition, well maintained. It passes its exhaust emissions every year on the MOT. And she said she was heartbroken, depressed. She says, I pay all my taxes. I run a business. I pay my staff their wages. And what really pains me is the tax I have to pay. And I can't drive my car in London. She says, frankly, I feel all my freedoms are being chipped away
Do you know what?
corner by
In
corner.
some countries, they do free national transport, but you cannot take one thing away without replacing it with someone else. They don't care we've got the cars. They take masses of tax out of cigarettes, out of cars, out of everything. And they
Fuel,
put
petrol.
some of this money back into things. I mean, they know we've got cars everywhere and we're like ants.
Yes, you've got it in one again, Karen. Absolutely. They tax you on your fuel. Look, you get a car, you've got a road tax. Then there's that congestion charge. Now the ultra low emission zones charge possible for you. Your insurance. It's crazy. You know? It's just ridiculous. And that's just the motor car. Wow.
Well, I think something's happening here, by the way, because I think when everybody thought, oh, well, Theresa May went and they don't know what they're doing with Brexit, let's move on. I suddenly noticed just after that, when she went, that loads of people put their houses up for sale. Like, oh, I thought everything's moving again. But none of them have sold. They're all still 3 months later.
I think there's a recession going on there at the moment.
I don't think we've ever been out of the last one, to be honest, because obviously I'm self-employed and I have to find all my own work. And Patricia knows I found it really tough this last few years. But things are looking up a little bit. But I wouldn't say all those people. Some of those people I work for are elderly, so they're not relying on the economy. But at the moment, but I've noticed it in what I do for my job. I've noticed that out here, these houses have been up for like. Well, the houses we're in are quite, even though they're not the biggest, they're really sought after in this area. Nothing's moving. But then, it basically,
area is that again?
Because obviously some people will be watching from other countries, but it's now, for an average small 3-bedroom house, about 330,000. I mean, this is ridiculous.
Well, that's not bad, because for the same price in England, you wouldn't get a 1-bedroom flat.
No, that's what it is here, £330,000. But that's masses of money. Imagine the youngsters coming up now. How the hell are they going to afford that for a first-time buy? 330,000.
No, they can't. I mean, I watched on YouTube. I watched a couple of programs dealing with the housing crisis, and kids, university students who were born in London had to get places out in Epping Forest and beyond. That's the only place they could afford.
Yeah.
And at the time, there was like so many people going to view it.
Also,
it goes to the highest bidder.
Houses, whatever you want to call it, that way. Everybody knows what I'm talking about. There's not enough of those being built.
Yeah. So it's London and England, the UK. It's just out of control, really. Government's just running ragged. As far as I'm concerned, they are really creating despair.
I learnt myself that the Ombudsman is a body of people being paid millions of pounds a year to do nothing, because they make your case wait so long. They turn around and now they go, looking at our whatever information I've got, it's out. You're not inside that time scale, so we can't help you. And this is what they say to thousands and thousands of people after they make them wait maybe 4 or 5 years for an answer.
Yeah,
so nothing works. I don't even understand how things work at all, because nothing's really working. The housing, you go to anybody, like you go to the council, something happens, you go to look for help. There is nowhere to help.
That's right. You've got no legs to stand on these days. Really, with the way the government is running.
We think we're so wonderful in the year 2019, and I'd say that we're no further on, not sort of politically, mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually.
Yeah, it is a shame, really, that the way the government's running the country, it's just outrageous.
Bigger than that, isn't it? As we well know. But
yes,
yeah.
I don't know about you, Patricia. I mean, how are you finding it?
What, sorry?
I said, how are you finding it being in the UK with what's going on with all these high prices?
Patricia, I'm not taking your place, but I know Patricia so wants to move, and she's stuck in the system, and the system's just not working at all.
All right. So you'd like to move, would you, Patricia?
Yeah, I've been wanting to move since, for 3 years now.
Right.
I want to move back to my hometown.
Okay. Where's that then? Where's your hometown?
Leeds.
Okay, Leeds, right. I've got a few people up there that I know in Leeds that I'm talking to on the hangouts and that. Okay. I've been there
I
myself
wouldn't
a
say
few
that I
times.
know what the best way to do it is, but they all do it on point system now. And if you don't, that's it. It's all done on point system. And every month someone can overtake you. It's just, and it's leaving people waiting years and years for houses. But
Yeah.
you know what? I'm not being horrible. You could be let into this country and then they get everything laid on. In fact, they're actually asked to come here. They're being asked to come here to bolster the economy. I already said this before. I don't want to sound like I'm not being horrible. What they do is they ask people with nothing to come here, and then those people need to work, earn, sleep, the whole thing, and then they're helping bolster the economy. That's why they let people in
Yeah.
with nothing.
That's right.
If you keep letting people in with lots of money, it just devalues you. You want people with nothing.
Yes.
So they invite
Yes. And
millions of people in with nothing to keep the economy going, sort of thing.
that's right. That's what they're doing. So they buy up all the houses in the, and pricing everybody else out of a house.
Yeah, so it's better if
It's
you
like,
don't actually live here. It'd be better if you were actually from somewhere else because you're more likely to get a house here.
yeah, yeah. That's right. That's
Thinking,
why
I
people.
don't
That's why
like
they come.
this. I
Russia.
don't like it. I don't like any of it, and I'm never voting for it again.
Well, that's it. That's the way. That's the way forward. Non-compliance to the system. Just pull out. Pull out from there.
Yeah,
I've
it would
never in
take
my
a
life. I never will.
wouldn't it? Because it'd have to be millions and millions of people that did a no vote. But that's what's kind of needed for things to change.
Right. Yeah.
Most
Yeah.
people
Well, let's
don't know
hope.
what's going on, so they're going to vote for it. And 10 years ago, I thought, I want to be a councillor. Except when I thought about being a councillor, I realised that when I was involved in something, the law was always protecting someone else. It wasn't protecting me. But when they turned around, the law protected me, not them. So how can you help anybody if the law's always protecting the other person? You can never help anybody. So I thought, sorry, I like helping people. I can't be able to help people, so I didn't do it.
Yeah. It's like your hands are tied. It sounds like. So they've tied your hands so you can't help anyone. Mm.
There are people who make it, and it's great, but yeah, I've been looking at old school buses. Those ones in America look really good, or a proper bus. I'd love to have one of those.
What to live in?
Yeah, they're very expensive on petrol, though. I remember one of them said it was only like about 5 miles to the gallon. And I thought,
Yeah.
God, one of those old school buses. Yeah, they look lovely, kitted out. I was thinking 5 miles to the gallon. Oh my goodness, it cost me a fortune just to go anywhere.
Yeah, that's the thing, you see, with these RV lifestyle. And that, unless you've got a reliable economic engine, oh yeah, it could cost you some money and that. And then
But you know
if things
what?
go wrong,
Even on YouTube, you can see that there's a lot more people now getting their little houses so they can actually take them on the back of their trucks and move around. And there's a lot more people starting to even sell their houses, sell their businesses, and go and live in trucks and buses.
yeah,
And
RVs, yeah, the RV life is in the US is in particular, it's really on the increase, apparently.
yeah, well, it's not surprising, is it? Because the people haven't got any money and they're being bled dry every day. And when you know about birth certificates, it's an insult, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. It's crazy, isn't it?
But
Yeah,
you can't do anything. I think that's why everybody just is getting on.
yeah. This is what's going to happen. It's going to
In
come,
the
this year.
UK, we don't have such
This
nice weather.
revolution's on its way, I feel.
Yeah,
So the revolution's on its way. Signs.
it'd be easier to go off and but winters can be quite gruesome here.
Yeah, but I think if you're living in an RV and that's not that cold, you'd be okay. You've got a sleeping bag and that keep you warm. Hot water bottle. It's only for 3 months winter.
I know,
The
but we
rest
all
of it,
in somewhere like America is very rich. But I mean, I've seen some of these towns where these tornadoes have been 3-4 years ago, and it looks like the tornado still came yesterday. They haven't cleared it up, and they've got no money to rebuild their cities and towns.
that's right. That would be the same here in Japan with the tsunami. This it's
Yeah,
still ongoing.
when I watch something, I don't watch one. I watch 20 or 30 because I just do. I just get really into it and I watch and I want to see. I couldn't believe
Yeah,
tsunamis in Japan. They're not like, how can I put it? I'm sure that people know that you get those in your area, But those things are absolutely, they devastate everything.
Everything.
I can't believe that we're not told more about them, because it happens quite frequently around the coastline. Don't ever buy a house on the coastline of Japan. That's all I say.
No, don't bother. It's not a good idea, you know. And when the Prime Minister came to visit the devastated areas, that was the only time I've seen the Japanese people angry. And they were still kind of like polite about their anger. They were still polite with it. I would have been livid.
Do you remember watching the video about those people? They were on, it was in America, I think, and they were on a riverbank, and then the ice melted up so much it was sort of going, and it was moving all the ice on their gardens and onto their houses. That's kind of the same thing with a tsunami, isn't it?
Yes.
It just keeps going like a train.
That's right. It just keeps coming in. The power, it picks up cars. Cars are floating down the road like, boy, I tell you, your streets become rivers.
I just like so many where it's not just one or two houses; it's hundreds of houses. It looks like, you know what it looks like. You know, if you had shown that land afterwards to what we used to know when we were little, it looks like well, I know they're not real, but we'd have said it looks like a nuclear bomb has gone off there.
Oh yeah, that's what it looked like a war zone. Yeah. Absolutely.
There's nothing left, just a few stumps, and this is just catastrophic. I just don't understand why they don't show more, more of these things that happen to the real people, their lives destroyed.
Yeah, so you get a better understanding of what's going on in the world.
Yeah.
But saying that, Japan received lots of donations from around the world, both in manual help and financial help. So that was pretty good. It makes a change. Usually it's the Japanese that are the first to donate money to a disastered area, an area suffering disaster. So it was nice to see them getting
by the sea. Build it on top of the hill, even if it's by the sea, but build it higher.
Yeah. I think most people don't want to even live near. People are shy now. They want to move inland a bit more now.
Worse then, Jin? Do you think the tsunamis are getting worse?
I think the earthquakes are becoming more regular. Tsunamis don't happen so often, but earthquakes happen quite a lot. I mean, only yesterday we had one, and then 2 days ago there was a serious one up north. So they happen quite frequently at the moment, earthquakes and earth tremors. But tsunamis are not so often, to be honest.
Oh. Hey, Jin, I wanted to tell you something I was thinking about. I've told Patricia.
Yeah, go on.
I suddenly thought about it. I live where I live, which isn't too far from Heathrow. And I'd say that the land, I'm not saying there aren't hills. And then you get to somewhere like Dover and you've got the drop, haven't you, on the Dover cliffs?
Yes.
But
the white cliffs of Dover.
By Swindon here, you've got to go down this big hill. And down there is Cirencester, the West Country. Made me realise that they don't live on the same plane as me. They don't say it's hills. We live on top of hills here.
No, well, I wonder why.
You see what I mean? I would love to see a side section of the UK. And I mean, I know you can't do it because it's too big, but...
No, you can. You can do it through Google. You can do it.
I'd love to see that section, because Patricia's probably living on another plane. It doesn't mean that when we're not on something that's what we've all decided anyway, we're not moving and all that, but it's just that the West Country are down there on a plane and we're up here on a plane.
That's right.
They never say that. So I wonder how many more planes up, down, are all over the UK.
There's quite a lot. There's quite a lot.
Do you understand what I'm saying? Do you understand?
Yeah, I understand it. You're talking about I think you mean the topography, the actual layout, the layout of the land.
Yeah. They live down there on this plateau, and we live up here on this plateau.
Yeah.
I just never thought about it. It's been bugging me for a few months now, and I realised.
Well, I mean, you notice it when you leave London and you start going north, you notice you're going uphill. Do you know that? When you leave London, and you want to go to Birmingham, Manchester, Leeds, and beyond, you notice that you're climbing up. Do you know that? Definitely.
Right. Patricia might be up there then.
Yeah, so you're going to Leeds. If I'm leaving London, I'm going up to Leeds, up to Peterborough. I'm going up. I'm not going down. That's for sure. So
But they
you're
never say we
absolutely
live
right
on
in
the
your
top of the hill
observation.
here. They don't say we live on the top of anything. Do you see what I mean? It's just
Yeah,
ridiculous
yeah.
what they've done. Absolutely ridiculous. Wouldn't it be
Mm.
nice to really know what we're living on?
Yeah, well, I mean, you can do that. You can do that through Google. You can get the geology and the layout of the land and the topography. You can definitely get all that. You just got to type in, you know,
I
what
just
areas you want
love
to look at.
the cross section. I'd love to see it, like, because
Yeah, yeah, you can type it in the
Devon and
cross section of the
Cornwall are
UK.
down there. That doesn't mean that
Mm.
they don't have different plateaus there as well, but they're down there. Siren Sisters down there, and we're up here.
Yeah.
Mm. I used to live down there. I used to live near Siren Sister, but so I used to go up the big hill to Swindon. And when you were down there, like, it can be really foggy. There's loads of things happens down there, and then you go up the hill, and then you're in the sunshine.
Yeah, so you're in Swindon,
Well,
and then
no,
you
I'm
got
not in Swindon.
further along is Swansea, isn't it? Much further along, I think.
Swansea's,
Along.
Swindon's about 15, 20 miles away.
Right, right. Nice place, Swindon. I've been there.
It's all
Yeah.
right.
It's all right. It's lovely. You've got, you know what I like about Swindon? The historical value of it. All those old buildings and that.
It's just that when I moved in before they started putting all the houses, and Swindon was still a town, but now it's huge. I don't even know Swindon anymore. They put so many housing estates in.
Right. Yeah.
Build,
Yeah. I know
build,
what you mean.
build.
No. So I haven't been in the UK for 20 years now. So, but when I was there and I used to go to Swindon, I used to love it there
Is it
because I like the
like that with
buildings.
you?
Sorry.
I wonder if it's like that with Patricia where she lives. You know, Leeds used to be whatever it was, or Scunthorpe, but now it's just absolutely enormous, and they've built loads of houses.
Is that right, Patricia?
I don't know. She's muted now.
Come on,
Sorry, we're
Patricia. I'll
stopping.
see you there.
What was the question again? Sorry.
Oh, you know, like Swindon. I moved there, the other side of Swindon, years ago, and I watched how they suddenly made Swindon twice as big as it was by building. First of all the units came, you know, all the shops and like Currys and whatever, and then came the houses, and so Swindon's twice the size it used to be 20 years ago.
Most places
Is that
are
the
though,
same for?
don't they? They grow. You know, Scunthorpe. I don't know. I think it's. I don't know because I've only lived here 20 years, so I won't really know. I know the main thing is the shops are shutting in the town centre.
Right.
But
Why are they shutting?
Well, because we're in a recession.
Okay. So there's no
because
business.
everyone's shopping online. You know,
Oh,
you were
okay.
saying about electric cars and stuff, and
Yes.
all this. Like, I have a real problem with electricity, and Karen knows why. It's like
Yeah, I
if
know.
we ever
I
had a
know.
power cut, and we've got electric car, electric, you know, electric in our homes. Hardly
Yeah.
any homes have gas anymore.
Yeah. Electric
If
cookers.
there's a, do you know what I mean? We'd end up with nothing. We wouldn't be able. I mean, all right, we could maybe walk to the shop, but the refrigerators would be down. Everybody will be
We would need
panicking.
more like panels and things. I don't know how they'd have done it because I'm not a, you know, I don't design things, but you know, these electric cars, they could you work off solar panels and things. I'm just
Yeah, but I
imagine
do.
they'd started like and kept to it. Imagine what the cars could have been like now.
Yeah, I still think though that hemp beats the electric car hands down because you've got the range and it's a non-pollutant. It's the real environmentally friendly car, the hemp car, because the liquid coming out is like CO2. It's not gonna. Sorry, it's H2O. Water's coming
But
out
I
of
mean,
the
that's what they
exhaust.
wanted. Then they wouldn't be able to tax us and do all those things, would they?
Right, but that's what we need. We need that. That's the best one, you see. Better than the electric, because electric is reliant on coal or nuclear, which is like, no, thank you very much.
I always imagined, you know, 20, 30 years ago, by the time we got here, we'd probably be flying in our own little car fly things. But
Yes, I had that same thought. I had that same thought as well.
yeah, because that's what they made us look like it was going to happen.
Our cars could actually run the same as an aeroplane. Obviously, not enough to take off, but you could have, your jet fuel, air compressor type system, and just have a thrust to get you going, and momentum keeps you going, and you steer it
That's
like
a
you do a car.
good idea, but it requires a lot of speed to get those turbines running, you know. But there's something in it. There's something in what you say.
Yeah,
But
and that's not true, though, is it? Because I was really shocked when I went last on a plane. This was not the biggest plane that I ever went on, but
no,
they take off at 70 to 80 miles an hour. And I asked them,
yeah,
for bigger planes, how fast are they going? They said 100 miles an hour. But if you imagine how big a plane is and how much
yeah.
thrust you think I'm on a rocket.
280 miles an hour, say in some cases.
It's not that fast.
280 miles an hour for the
We go
747.
80 miles an hour, 70, 80 miles an hour. We drive that, but 10 miles more and you could actually take off.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Put some wings on it.
So the next thing is Karen's flying all over the motorway. Yay!
All over Swindon.
Yeah, getting a good view of those people living down there.
Patricia,
Well,
how
you
far
don't need that, Karen. You just need your umbrella and a bit of wind and your bit of
I could Mary Poppins.
Mary Poppins. Yeah.
yeah.
Karen, sorry, Patricia, how far is Scunthorpe from Leeds? Do you know?
Not off the top of my head, no. I'd
20
say it's
miles?
roughly. I don't know. It's because Scunthorpe is near Hull, below Hill at Hull.
Right,
Before
right.
between Hull and Grimsby. Sorry, it's bottom of Grimsby, so it's Hull
Okay.
side, and Leeds is over west side. So
West side.
I don't know.
Okay. Maybe
I'd
40
say about
miles?
40,
Something like
50
that?
miles.
Yeah, 40, 50 miles. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Right. So you've definitely moved to a different area. The accents, are they the same, would you say?
The accents.
Yeah.
No, this is Lincolnshire and Hull, so it's more of a Hull sort of.
Okay. All right.
Can I tell you
quite
something?
Hull.
There are accents everywhere. When I lived in Reading, they had an accent there. I lived in Hungerford, accent there. Even a few miles away in Ramsbury, another accent there. Different accent.
Yeah, Ramsbury.
And Thatcham people where I live now have a different accent.
Yeah, some nice. You're living in some nice areas. You've been living in Ramsbury. Well, Reading. I
Well,
like
you know
Reading.
Ramsbury, do you?
Yeah,
Ah.
yeah. I've been to these. The reason I know these areas, as a courier, you tend to deliver parcels all over the place. So you've got to go everywhere and anywhere, isn't you? Yeah. So that's why I know all these places, and they're nice.
Can I just say, we're only going for about an hour. There's about 25 minutes left. Is there anything you want to talk about today then, Jin, as you've been very nice and gentlemanly and talking to both me and Patricia? But is there anything you want
I mean, okay, I'll tell you what's disappointing, that I found very disappointing, and that was Patricia Steer actually leaving the flat earth because of, unwarranted and undeserved being called a tranny and abuse, from the men. And I just think it's wrong. It's wrong. There's a video out recently that's been narrated by Karen B. I think it was uploaded today about maybe 11, 12 hours ago. People should watch that and get a fuller understanding, because she actually, it turns out that she was raped by, what's his name? Super Rats. And he was just a no good scumbag, basically, excuse my French. Absolute horrible individual. Absolute horrible individual. And she left the US to be with him, and he just treated her like crap and then raped her in the end. Returns back to the US. He trolls her with negative videos right to the end when she actually left the flat earth, and I think it's terrible.
I got bitten by that. He did it to me once, horribly, or for a few months. In fact, maybe he still mentioned.
Who did that? Who?
Him, that person you were talking to about. But
Super rats.
yeah, but what it is YouTube allow all that.
I'm absolutely annoyed with that geezer.
But
He's just
YouTube
a no good,
the YouTuber allowing it.
horrible human being.
Anyway, we already sort of talked about this one. You know, I just think there's three types of people. There's obviously the glue people with whatever, you know, arrogance, ignorance, and the rest of it that goes on. Sorry, and then
Yeah.
people who think they're flat earthers, and then the flat earthers. So if you're a real flat earther, your consciousness, your spirituality is different. Me and Patricia do not have ego problems. Nothing. We don't even think about it. You know, and unfortunately, a lot of people use this what they this way, and they're just globe people, really, because you don't treat people like that.
No, exactly that. I mean,
Isn't
super
that
rats. I
what
mean,
we were
this
supposed
is a
to learn
scumbag.
through, knowing that we've been lied to, is that we treat people differently.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I agree there. I think what happened to Patricia Stairs should not happen. No one deserves what she went through. She did good work, good content. Some people were complaining that she's making money. I say good luck to her
She
in
told
this world
me
where the government
she didn't want
takes your
to.
money and
She didn't,
taxes you to the hilt.
she
Come
didn't
on.
really want to say anything, but I just wish that she'd said it before and stuck up for herself before, really.
Yeah, but maybe she wasn't.
She was being, you know, in her world, she was being a lady, and ladies don't do that. And she was just like ignoring it and trying to move on in her own life.
Yeah, she needed. Yeah, but I mean, every woman handles it differently. No woman deserves to be going through this.
But you know
She
what?
didn't have any
I made
support.
videos when he did it, and I was crying. And then they
There
took
you
a
are.
few people that liked him, took the mickey out of me, didn't they, Patricia? Patricia stuck up for me, and they were
Yeah, I
just
wish I'd been. I wish I'd been there. I would have.
they were
I would have.
using that against me when actually he was bullying me.
Yeah, he was a scumbag, basically a lowlife.
But anyway,
The sooner he's the sooner he's in the coffin, the better. That one, really. Got no sense of being alive. Is what I'm trying to say. If you're alive and you're in touch with your senses, and as you said, your spirituality, sorry, you understand that if there are no women around, no one's going to be born onto this flat earth. No one's going to be born without the women. So to do what he did, and everyone who's around him haven't beaten him up, broken his legs, liquidated his body, I'm still surprised, because that's what he deserves. Deserves to
anyway,
be in hospital
we've
for the rest
mentioned
of his
him now,
days.
Jim. We've mentioned
Sorry.
him, okay, and a shout out for Patricia Steer, and hope that yeah, she's well and everything. I just wish she stuck up for herself a bit earlier, really. But everybody
Well, I
goes
mean,
their own way, don't they?
well, I do feel that she needed support and she wasn't getting it. She was on her own with it emotionally. And everywhere, even Mark Sargent failed her, really. Even Mark Sargent failed her. He's supposed to be a very close friend, didn't really give her any support. So that's why she left. She shouldn't. I hope she comes back anyway, because obviously she's missed. And she was doing excellent work. There are a lot of arseholes out there, holes of asses, and it's down to the community to stamp it out.
I think that's
Those
the bit that's
people should
upset
be
me a little
blocked,
bit in Flat Earth.
unsubscribed.
I
Sorry, there,
thought
Karen.
in Flat Earth, everybody would be a little different now, waking up. But a
Well, I
lot of
hope
them
so.
still like that same rat race, treating people the same, doing the same things. If you've
Yeah,
woken up, it's a different life.
exactly. Exactly. There
And
should be more unity.
you
There
treat
should be
people as
more
you
unity, I
want to be
think.
treated. That's the bit that upsets me. There's a lot of backfighting and all these things happening in flat.
Yes.
Know,
Yes.
it's got to stop, because
It's got to stop.
everybody
Yeah, all
alone.
this unnecessary division. I'm very vocal when it comes to that. Very vocal. That I'll pull the person or the individuals up immediately and say to them to shut their mouths, because I don't see them doing anything better than anybody else.
Well,
and
On
we
that,
don't need
all that
division.
happens is you just don't go near those people who are doing horrible things. You just don't go near them. You don't watch them. Don't go
Well,
near.
exactly. I try to avoid them, but I'm always prepared to give. I've got to give people a chance, and I'm looking for unity. So I don't want to divide anyone. But if it means that I have to be vocal in order to reach somebody and say, look, okay, if you don't particularly like an individual, just keep it under your hat, keep your mouth shut, because we don't want division, right? You don't want to subscribe to that person, fair enough. But don't say this person.
What's our group called? It's called Family United. I don't think
Exactly.
there are. Thank you so much to everybody that supported us and those that are glad that we're back now. But you know, there's so many people. It's just I don't understand why they don't want to be. You know, we can't prove anything. We don't have to argue about all those things right now. We're not moving. Let's just move on as a community and build. Let's have
Yes,
charity.
that's right.
Charity starts at home. No,
Yes.
nobody's interested in these things. It's a bit sad, really.
Yeah, it is sad. It is sad because I don't understand what I find funny is that they're not vocal when the government's taking your taxes, introducing more taxes, crapping down the back of your neck, you know, and leaving you devastated financially.
Yeah, no, but
They won't have a revolution, but they've got no evidence of
it.
someone being a transgender. Sorry to carry on there. They've got no evidence that someone's a transgender or this one's gay. You know, you've got no evidence, but yet
Does it
you
really
throw
matter?
all your energy into that. Silly.
Does it really matter if you're male that dresses as a woman? Does it really matter? In the grand scheme of things, we all need to unite.
Yeah, we all need to unite, but I don't think it should be an educational thing for kids at school. I disagree there. I don't think it should be. I don't think transgenderism.
I don't mind anybody being anything, but what I found on my other channel when I'm looking at through the media, everybody seems to be the opposite sex, and like they'll go to a prison and they'll say these are what happened to the women in prison, but they're not. They're men, so they won't be in the women prison. Those are the things I don't like. I don't like that they're lying that way.
Yeah.
You watch them and you think, but this is a bunch of men. I can see their Adam's apples moving, and they're pretending that they're women.
Right. Well, there you go.
Those things I find a bit weird, but yeah, does it matter? All these things we should be growing and learning, and you know, charity, and I just don't understand. When I met Flat Earth, I just thought that, you know, these were people who were waking up like me. I wasn't expecting it to just be another.
Yeah, I just think that when someone's being attacked, the community should rally together and eject that individual who's doing the attack, unsubscribe, block.
You can't do that.
Leave him in the gutter.
You just don't go near those people.
Yeah, just unsubscribe for them, block them off your channel, don't invite them on, leave them in the gutter.
But you know what? Being in a community is a bunch of people, and not a lot of people like being in a community. They don't.
Yeah, well, that's fair enough as well. If you don't want to be in a community, fine, but don't come in disrupting the community, spreading rumours, pointing fingers, and just talking crap. I mean, I don't need that. You know,
it's entertainment, though, Jin. It's entertainment. It's entertainment. People love somebody that like has a go at someone else for whatever strange reason. You know, it's like.
Yeah.
Like you say, you shouldn't ever attack someone, because at the end of the day, isn't that the whole point of like doing the opposite of what we're taught in everyday life is to fear our neighbours. You know, don't talk to your neighbours. You know, they'll end up robbing you, and you know, there's no community anymore. We're all individuals, but we need a community. We need that.
Absolutely. This is
connection
what the government's
with people.
This is what the government's doing all over the world. It's not just in Britain.
That's what I was trying to say to you. We've done this bit where, unfortunately, through the system or the lives we've lived, a lot of people are narcissistic now. And the bit in that is those people, they won't take responsibility for themselves. So that's the problem we've got. Narcissistic people who don't want to take responsibility for anything. And until we start taking responsibility for ourselves and making our own communities, it ain't going to happen, is it? Because everybody's going to blame someone else. They're going to blame the government. They're going to blame them. It's up to us.
Yes, that's the key, and that's the one. Got to stand up now. It's time to stand up. Stand up and be counted. Organize yourselves into groups. Organize yourselves into parties and that, and get down there. Get down to the government. Bang on the door. Throw them out.
You mentioned the stuff about Patricia Steer today, but as a channel, we don't really talk about anybody else, or we haven't done, because we didn't want that on. We didn't want our channel to be the same. We didn't want it suddenly to be a slanging match. But even
No.
our channel, it's been quite hard with everybody and things that have gone on. And then on the edge, these people are arguing, or this has happened, or whatever it is. It's sometimes, even as a community, it's really hard.
Yeah, but it's just negative people who are just out there to cause trouble. That's all that is. And as soon as you meet these sort of people, just disassociate yourself with them, unsubscribe,
Well, I think
eject
that's
them,
why people like
block
us,
them.
because we don't get involved in all that. We didn't have a voice. We don't. Me and Patricia stayed quite quiet, and coming back, we'll
Yeah,
have a little bit more of a voice. But we've tried to not have a voice, not be biased about things, and listen to everybody what they're talking about. That was the point.
yeah. You did quite well with that. You know, I mean, you were one of those shining beacons out there in cyberspace. You know, YouTube hangouts and that. Yeah, people
Yeah,
enjoy coming onto
Patricia,
your channel.
like my story, which is what Sun and Moon sort of turning into right now, is it's everybody's story.
Yeah,
We don't want all that stuff. We want to come together. We want to hear what the people are saying, ideas, thoughts,
yeah. Yes, that's what
friendship.
we want. We want solutions, not pointing fingers. We want solutions from people. How are we going to get this monkey off our back, as it were, the government and the
Yeah, but
tyranny?
through this, we've become friends, haven't we, Jin?
Oh, yeah, of course we have. Yeah, brilliant. I'm glad. And Patricia as well. You know, I've always tried to be there, support in a positive light, because all you girls are doing is good stuff. It's all good stuff, no doubt about it.
Hmm.
You know.
Anyway, we're nearly at the hour now.
Oh, that's okay. You know, it's been brilliant being on with you two. It's been a while,
We're still
and
this hangout is being done. It's being unlisted, and then when it's uploaded, I will add it. We will go back to doing the live streams, but having the hangout, doing the live stream, doing the links, it was actually quite stressful.
yeah, I can understand that. But I tell you, there's a lot of people out there who miss the channel. You know, and
Well,
they'll be glad. They'll be so glad for you to put a live stream up. You'll be, you know, even if it's only 30 people at first, these are all they're your loyal ones. You watch. It might not be in the hundreds straight off, but
I think
you watch and see.
important things is, even if me and Patricia aren't particularly overly brilliant ourselves and don't do much growing, is to try and get people back into thinking about growing and that their own
Yeah,
vegetables and fruit, and
that's
try
right.
do it this way. I think
Uniting with each other and helping each other to get along, because it's going to get harder and harder. It's going to get harder and harder, and you're going to need to work together, because that's what the government wants, to fragment everybody. Fragmentation is what they're trying to do.
they've done it. They've succeeded because they've made a whole.
They're succeeding. They're succeeding, yes, but the battle is not over yet. It's not over yet.
Sensitive ones, people who are empathic like me and sensitive. This is hell.
Yeah. But I think the ones who are sensitive like you will turn out to be the stronger ones in the end. I'm telling you.
Yeah. How strong do you have to be?
Yeah, that's often the way it goes. It's the ones that are the most sensitive are the ones that make the most changes in the end. You know, are the ones that people are going to be relying on. I'm telling you.
Patricia, is there anything you'd like to say to Jin on as we're finishing now, or to this hangout, to this talk?
Well, other than I love you, Jin, and I love everyone that's watching. Well, when they get it. It's great to catch up with people and to keep it a bit lighter. Rather than talking about just about flat Earth, because we are more than just flat Earth. We are people. We have feelings. We're trying to understand people and just be a nice community, if you want to call it community.
Let's call it community. Yeah, I agree. I love you both, as you know, and anyone else out there watching, you know how it is. You know, we've only got ourselves to blame when things go wrong, and it's going wrong at the moment in a big way. It's time to
Yeah,
unite
send
together.
some love, send some kindness.
Yes,
Think up.
time
Don't
to get
think down.
together here.
Think up.
Right, come on now. Because in the old, back in the old days, I used to hear you could leave your door open, and if people came in, they'd leave a little note. I took a pint of milk from you, Jim. You know, you know, and that was good. That's what it was used. That's what we're looking for. Okay, and I, as a black man in England, I can honestly say, when I used to travel all over Britain, I used to get that from the British people. I had a few sticky moments, but 90% of the time, it was a handshake and a welcome. And that says a lot. I don't know what it's going to be like now. Probably a baseball bat and a knife. Who knows?
No,
But let's
it's not that bad,
unite.
Jin. We need to bring the trust back.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. That's why I advertise as you see it. There I am. Bold as brass,
Thumbs up,
loud as
Jin.
a lion.
Jin, it's been really great chatting with you, and we will, we'll chat again. Patricia, my darling,
Yes.
thank you so much.
Thank you very much. You too. Thank you very much, Patricia.
Yeah, and thank you everybody for listening. And let's think up and let's be nicer people and start caring, sharing, sending out hugs. So,
Mwah. Yeah, hugs for everyone. Come on, people.
Yeah.
We need to unite and be together. It's the only way. It's the only way forward. Thank you.
big hugs.
Thank you, Jin.
Thank you, Patricia. Look
Thanks,
forward to
Patricia.
seeing you
Thanks,
again. And
Jin.
Karen,
Thank you, everybody.
very
Thanks,
soon, I
Karen.
hope. Very soon, I hope. Very soon.
Let's all talk at once, shall we?
Yeah.
Around the exit.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right then, I'm going to stop now. So thank you, everybody.
Bye, everyone. Love you all.